Good Tuesday afternoon, guys. Jerry Miller, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. It's good to be with you. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. Loaded program for you. One of the largest employers in Charlottesville, very under the radar, filed for bankruptcy yesterday. We have that story for you. UVA Sports Department launches a GoFundMe. You heard me correctly. The UVA Sports Department doing a GoFundMe now because sports in tremendous jeopardy. Virginia may legalize gambling across the Commonwealth to help make up the loss of revenue from COVID-19. That means sports betting potentially allowed in early 2021. Chesterfield County Schools goes online only. We have the Virginia unemployment numbers for you. The Daily Progress is its future in trouble. And of course, the fabulous Kelly Jackson will join us on the I Love CVille Show. My name is Jerry Miller. It's good to be with you. Give the show a like and a share, whether you're doing it on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and of course, across our network on Facebook. Do that now. Hammer the like button, guys, and share it to your friends. This show, presented by a lot of fabulous people, Animal Connection, Cameron Limousine, Anderson Seafood and Catering, VMV Brands, but Interstate Pest and Service Companies, and Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine, folks, they deserve a lot of attention. They are changing the community from a positive standpoint with how they do business. Interstate Pest and Service Companies, a 4-generation company, and Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Judah Wickhauer is our director. He's a fabulous person. Judah, we'll go over here, and I think we start the show with the headline that is tremendously concerning. Let's go straight to it. WorldStrides, you heard me correctly. WorldStrides goes bust less than 3 years after a leveraged buyout. Judah, get the headline on screen. This is from Bloomberg. This will be in the news. The reporters that are watching the show from NBC 29, CBS 19, the CVille Weekly, and the Daily Progress will report this news tomorrow or the next day. You're ahead of the curve here. WorldStrides, this is not a good situation. They're a large employer downtown. In a nutshell, WorldStrides, guys, provides educational travel and learning programs for more than 550,000 students a year. In February, WorldStrides started canceling those field trips. If you don't have in-person school, how do you freaking do field trips? This is another thing that we haven't covered. It's another layer to the onion that is being impacted by COVID. This is worth repeating. Folks, this is breaking news. WorldStrides files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy because it cannot do field trips anymore for its 550,000 students across America. Boys and girls, just Google WorldStrides and bankruptcy right now, and you'll find a little bit more about what's happening. I will do it. We'll do it together, okay? So WorldStrides has assets. This is very concerning. Has assets in the early 1 million, 2 million range. Do you know what WorldStrides has from a debt obligation standpoint? It's a range close to $10 million. This is not good, okay? So a company that's downtown that employs tremendous Charlottesvillians, a tremendous amount of Central Virginians, an anchor tenant on downtown Charlottesville. It's on Water Street, right across from the old Escafé, on the same side of the road as Moe's Barbecue, the old Mono Loco. Bankruptcy, because how do you do field trips in a COVID-19 landscape when kids aren't going to school? Follow the story closely. Follow the story closely. One of the largest employers in Charlottesville, Virginia. We'll go to the next headline, Judah, as I shift over here. The next headline goes from UVA Sports. And any other day on this show, when the UVA Athletic Department and Judah, we'll all get that video on screen here in a matter of moments. But on any other day, when the UVA Athletic Department launches a GoFundMe, and behind me, you're going to see me cue up that video. On any other day, this is the lead of the show, the fact that the UVA Sports Department is launching a GoFundMe. I'm going to play the video for you here in a matter of moments. I have it up on screen behind me. Before I play the video, I want to talk about this first. I'm concerned about a lot of things in a COVID standpoint. We'll get to this here in a matter of moments. In fact, why don't I play it now for you? Judah, I'm going to get out of the way, see if we can get a close-up. Maybe it's the one shot in front of us on what I'm about to play. This is the video from UVA's GoFundMe that they released yesterday afternoon. Good Lord. Judah, I'm hitting play now. Oh my goodness. It's playing. All right, we're having some technical difficulties on the play. It's virginiasports.com for the Who's. virginiasports.com for the Who's. And I'll give you a nitty-gritty of what's happening here. The sports department has roughly 750,000 student athletes, roughly 750 student athletes, 750. As a result of not having a sports season, in particular football, that funds so many of the departments, so many of the teams, Virginia and its athletic department has put a fabulous video together. You can find that video online, and it's a tearjerker. It's a heart-jerking type of video. And in a nutshell, they're asking for the community to essentially buy futures. And buy futures as being buying tickets in advance, donating money in advance, and then you get things down the road. Long story short, when football's not being played and the tea leaves show football's not going to be played, this particular sport funds most of the department, a lot of the department. So, boys and girls, Virginia, at a time when we're having to do GoFundMes for the 4th of July, to save the 4th of July. We did that here on the I Love CVille Network with the help of some phenomenal people. At a time when Little John's is launching a GoFundMe to save its restaurant, at a time when businesses across America are launching GoFundMes to save their sweat equity in small business, we have a UVa Athletic Department backed by an institution that has billions with a B, an endowment, launching an advertising campaign based around a GoFundMe concept to help save or strengthen or stimulate the athletic department. First, I say this before I go to the next headline. First, if UVA Sports is launching a GoFundMe, you know it's brutal out there and it's Darwinistic and survival of the fittest. Second, I went to UVA, I bleed orange and blue. I had a little slight sour taste in my mouth from UVA Sports and its athletic department launching this GoFundMe. I had this sour taste because I know they have an endowment that has billions of dollars in it. Now, everyone that's watching this show, or some of us that are watching this show, are going to say, Jerry, that money that's in that endowment is earmarked for certain things, and that earmarked money cannot be reallocated or repurposed or shift from this money's for a building, this money's for chemistry, this money's for physics, this money's for the library to sports. I get that. But basically what's happening is this. You have UVA, we're in the city of UVA, not the city of Charlottesville, we're in the city of UVA. And whether you like it or not, Virginia is one of the best public schools in America. And whether you like it or not, on paper, for what you get, probably the best public school, probably the best school, public or private, in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Okay, maybe I'm biased, I went there, but statistically, public or private in Virginia, UVA, you can make a strong argument, is probably the best school. So you basically have the number one school in the Commonwealth, one of the number one schools in America from a public standpoint, one of the top 50 schools in America from a public and private standpoint, essentially an Amazon of education. If I'm comparing an institution like UVA to a business, you're basically looking like an Amazon type situation here. So would you get irritated? Would you get irked? Would you get perturbed? Would you get somewhat frustrated? Or would you have a sour taste in your mouth if Amazon launched a GoFundMe? If Amazon, the company that you buy stuff online, if they launched a GoFundMe to save some aspect of their business, whether it was Amazon Web Services or whether it was of course you would. Of course you would. Of course you would. Another thing. So I go to football games, I go to basketball games, season tickets for football last year. Every year we're paying more money. We're paying more jack. We're paying more green. We're paying more dinero to this athletic department for our seats. Every year concessions go up. Every year, the cost of enjoying a game and an outing that we love goes up. So that's why initially I had a sour taste. Will I donate to the GoFundMe? Probably, because I love UVA. But the fact that UVA is launching a GoFundMe, ay carajo, chico. That's very, very, very concerning. Very, very concerning. Let's go to the next headline, Judah Wickower, and let's go to Virginia legalizing gambling. Oh. So Virginia may legalize sports betting early next year. Virginia will issue, this is the Commonwealth, between 4 and 12, and give me the thumbs up when those are on screen. Virginia will issue between 4 and 12 sports betting licenses. They're going to impose a 15% tax rate on net revenue for those licenses, and Virginia is expecting about $45 million annually from sports betting by year 5. So here's what it comes down to in a nutshell. We have, due to COVID, a shortfall, not only in the city of Charlottesville with our working budget for 2021, not only in Albemarle County with our working budget for 2021, but in most municipalities across the country, and certainly at the state level, and in our Commonwealth, Virginia, has a shortfall of roughly, if memory serves correct, about $250,000, or $250 million. So to make up for this shortfall, they are trying intriguing and different things. So the shortfall is approximately $205 million. I just Googled it. Okay, so between 200 and 230 million, depending on how things shake out for the rest of the year. That's a hell of a lot of money. Now, they anticipated a much larger shortfall at the state level, but still, $250 million is a good chunk. So now you have legislators trying new and innovative ways to make up that revenue. The last thing we want as citizens is to be taxed at a greater clip from a real estate standpoint. I think that's certainly going to happen at the city and county level here to make up for the deficits that we have. But taxes, they hurt us. They sting. They leave a bad taste in our mouth. So Virginia and its legislators are trying to find incremental or new revenue without raising taxes on its citizens to make up this budget shortfall. One of them is legalizing sports betting. 5 to 12 licenses, 4 to 12 sports betting licenses will be issued. Whoever gets one of those 4 to 12 licenses in Virginia is going to be filthy rich. I'll repeat that. If you were able to get one of the 4 to 12 sports betting licenses that the Virginia legislator is going to offer, you are going to be filthy, filthy rich when this comes to fruition and this gains traction. 15% of net profits from each sports betting license will go to Virginia and its working budget. The Commonwealth is expecting $45 million annually by year 5 due to legalized sports betting. So it's happening. This is a ramification, a fallout. This is a direct result of COVID-19. COVID-19 is forcing the Virginia Athletic Department to do a GoFundMe. COVID-19 has forced WorldStrides out of business. COVID-19 has ravaged the restaurant industry. COVID-19 has decimated the retail industry and is crushing events and weddings. And now COVID-19 is creating or forcing the hands of policymakers across the Commonwealth and encouraging them to make sports betting a legal reality in early 2021 for the $45 million in possible tax revenue it will generate. Folks, this is the world we live in. Okay? COVID is magnifying and driving momentum around so many different things. And we'll show you a few more. The next one certainly covers it. And Judah, I'm sliding over here. Chesterfield County Schools. Chesterfield County Schools are now online only. So you see folks, school systems, and the thumbs up when you have that. You see school systems across Virginia, and some are responding faster than others. Chesterfield County is going online only this fall. School leaders voted 4-1 on the reopening plan in a special school board meeting on Monday. Okay? So, cutting to the chase, as Chesterfield, as Fairfax, as schools in San Diego and in Los Angeles, as they go online only, other school systems will be influenced by this, and I fully expect the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County to follow suit. Now, we'll talk with Kelly Jackson in about 22 minutes about the reopening plan for the Covenant School. We've talked reopening from a public school standpoint. How about what does reopening look like from a private school standpoint? That story for you in 22 minutes. Judah, the next story I want to cover are the Virginia unemployment numbers. My friend, if you can get those unemployment numbers on screen, that would mean the absolute world to me. 8.4% unemployment in the Commonwealth of Virginia. You heard me correctly, 8.4%. So, folks, it's trending positively in March and April. You have that on screen, J-Dubs? You're a good man, sir. In March and April, man, people are asking for the link for the GoFundMe. Get this on screen, J-Dubs, when you can. The link for the GoFundMe is blowing people's minds here. If you could get the link on screen when we're ready. First, let's handle Virginia unemployment. In March and April, the Commonwealth of Virginia lost 438,000 jobs. Good Lord. In March and April of this year, 438,000 jobs lost. In May, we got an extra 25,000. We made up 25K. In June, 63K. So we're trending in the right direction. However, if you add up May and you add up June, you get roughly 68K. You subtract 68K, we'll just call it 70 for the sake of this show, because I'm doing math on the fly, and you track it from the March and April losses, and you still realize that we're down about 370,000 jobs. The unemployment rate in Virginia is 8.4%. And while it's trending upwards, 8.4% unemployment. That basically means 1 in 10 people in America, 1 in 10 people in Virginia are unemployed. Take it a step further. Of the 1 in 10, 8.4%, okay, basically 1 in 10, of the 1 in 10 people that are unemployed, unfortunately, really demoralizingly, and very concerningly, it's hitting a certain demo of folks: restaurants, retail, hospitality, music. That's where this 8.4% is really strong. So, if we want to save these industries, we need to do whatever in our human power to contribute to their longevity by supporting them safely in a social distance fashion. Wearing a mask, but patronizing them. 6 feet apart, but patronizing them. Being mindful of COVID, but patronizing them. The 8.4% of the unemployment in the Commonwealth is concentrated in restaurants and retail and wedding, events, hospitality, and music. We have this weird situation that's happening. And the weird situation that's happening is we have a recession that I have not really seen before. And, you know, I'm a young guy. I haven't seen a ton of recessions. I started this business in the 2008 recession. So you talk about launching a business in 2008. I mean, that was freaking brutal. But this is my second one. And here's what I'm seeing, just from being a smart guy, reading the tea leaves, absorbing 15 hours a day of financial news. Here's what I'm seeing. This recession, home prices are not going down. The prices of homes are going up. A large portion of the American public is saving money because they got stimulus, they got the $600, $1,200 from the government, and because they're staying home quarantined and not going out. Okay? The unemployment numbers are starting to trickle in a positive direction. Whether that continues, we will see. So it's a very weird recession, as Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase said. So I would love to see the 8.4% go down. I don't think it's going to happen. I think you're going to see more bankruptcies. I think you're going to see more empty storefronts as storefronts are devalued. And I think you're going to see more folks that are in a B2C standpoint. WorldStrides is a microcosm of this. WorldStrides bankrupt. I think you're going to see more of this, and you risk that number getting worse. Time's going to tell. Now, folks across Virginia, and into Tennessee, North Carolina, and West Virginia are asking for the GoFundMe about UVA. It startled me too, guys. It absolutely startled me too. So Judah, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to play this on the screen behind me through the Mac that we have here. I would love to play this video with some audio. Never have we done something like this. What do you think, Judah? Should we give it a try?
Go ahead and give it a try.
All right, I'm going to hit play. Let's see if we can do this.
Get that mic close and turn up the sound.
Watch the screen. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. UVA's GoFundMe. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. How's it sound, Judah?
Slow, but
look at the screen. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. Let's play it again. One more time. I love orange and blue. Yeah! Look at the screen. Look at the screen.
you can stop telling people that, Jerry.
I mean, this is tear-jerking. This is emotional. This is emotional. I mean, this gives me pride to be a Wahoo. VirginiaSports.com for the Who's. VirginiaSports.com for the Who's. Am I concerned that the athletic department has put an advertising campaign together to help fund scholarships and overhead at school? Hells yeah. That is extremely concerning to me. Okay? Extremely concerning to me. Am I going to support it? Probably. Most likely. If you go and you look at the screen again, you can see here, and these are more difficult to read, but there's opportunities for you to essentially buy futures in the program. And futures in the program, you see this at vineyards and wineries. VirginiaSports.com for the Who's, the number 4. VirginiaSports.com/for the Who's. You see this at vineyards and wineries where you can buy futures. And essentially a future is you buying into like grapes or varietals. Am I saying this right, guys? Cindy, correct me if I'm wrong. You can buy futures into a vineyard or winery and say 2024 or 2022 or 2023. I want to allocate my money to that type of wine that's coming out. I don't have the verbiage. I just understand the concept. So Virginia doing a similar type of concept where they're offering you something to purchase in the future and leveraging your money today to make up a deficit they have today. They give you return on your money in the future, hopefully when the economy is better and we have a vaccine and we can go to Scott Stadium and the John Paul Jones Arena and cheer in person and spend our money in person. And they're saying, we'll give you this tomorrow to use your money today. And folks, that scares the hell out of me. Because the most powerful, the most stable, the most forward-thinking, and undoubtedly the most critically important company, business, and brand in Charlottesville and Central Virginia as defined by a 50 to 60 mile radius of Charlottesville. The most important business in this community is the University of Virginia. And this is what we know. We know that the hospital system is freaking hemorrhaging money. And as of March of 2020, so what? 3 months and change ago, the UVA hospital system was losing over $80 million a month. Right? UVA Health, over $80 million a month as of March 2020. Now we know another division or another arm of this UVA moniker and this UVA holding company, this UVA parent company. Another one is the sports or athletic department. And now we know that the sports and the athletic department has launched a GoFundMe where they're going to sell you futures to use your money today. Furthermore, another one of UVA's division is education and in-person learning. Judah, do you have those numbers on screen? Can you get me those numbers that I sent over about cost of tuition and where some of the tuition is allocated? I have it on screen behind me. You put it on screen too. Okay, thank you, sir. So UVA's health system is hemorrhaging money because it can't do elective surgeries. The athletic department has launched a GoFundMe to use your money today versus something they'll give you tomorrow. We know in-person curriculum and education at UVA is in big-time trouble in that we may not have this or it's going to change dramatically. I have on screen, and keep it on screen, and then I'm going to turn right here and look at it on my screen here. I have on screen University of Virginia components for mandatory fees. Come back to me, and then I'll tell you when to put it back on screen again here. So I'm going to do a little teaching, as if I was Mr. Gillespie at Walsingham Academy, teaching me Algebra 2 trig, and pre-calculus. He's a phenomenal teacher, best teacher I ever had. Do I good? Do what you got to do. One of the best lessons I have learned, as you know, from my life, personal and professional, is the acronym DWYGD. Do what you gotta do. And just think about it. Do what you gotta do is a mentality for so much of life. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Gillespie. You've impacted my life tremendously, sir. University of Virginia, components of mandatory fees. This is freaking crazy, okay? This is why you watch this show, for long-form knowledge that no other media outlet's offering you. UVA, in its 2020 and 2021 tuition package, literally has $678 in the tuition, $678 in every kid's tuition allocated to sports and the UVA sports experience. So whether or not you go to a sports game at all, if you're a first year at UVA, a second year at UVA, a third year at UVA, a fourth year at UVA, whether or not you actually attend a sporting event, you still pay $678 for sports. That's called, in the business world, a profit center. A good company creates a number of different profit centers to offer it diversification with its revenue streams. So these are some of UVA's revenue streams. Put it back on screen so they can see it, J-Dubs. And give me the thumbs up when it's on there. Thank you, sir. $678 for athletics. Look at the screen now and read along with me. Student health. Whether you get sick at UVA or not, whether you have to go to student health or not, you're still paying $842 for student health. Whether or not you play basketball at the Dell or anywhere else, whether or not you use the recreational facilities, you're still paying $428 of tuition. It's a profit center for recreational facilities. How about Safe Ride, University Transit, Newcomb Hall, a dining facility? Boys and girls, when I went to school at UVA, you can come back to me. When I went to school at UVA, I lived and breathed and enjoyed a phenomenal 4 or 5 years there. I was going to games. I was doing everything UVA had to offer in a lot of ways outside of going to class. Okay? So these profit centers on this itemized components of mandatory fees sheet that I'm presenting to you, I personally took advantage of every single one of these to the 9th, 10th degree. Never missed a football game in 4 years. I think I maybe missed one men's basketball game in 4 years, maybe. And that's when the team wasn't even great. Those were like the Pete Gillen years that were strugs. Okay, so I went to student health every now and again. You know, I went to Newcomb Hall, played basketball at the Dell all the time, used the bus system all the time, okay? I took advantage of this, but where I'm going at it is a lot of people that I knew or went to school with or go to school now, they don't go to sports. They haven't been to one iota of a sporting event at the University of Virginia. They may never go to student health in their 4 years. They may never go to the aquatics and fitness center or memorial gym in their 4 years there. They may never ride a bus in their 4 years there. So if you never utilize these itemized line items, that means it's literally profit for the university. These are called profit centers. So the business model that is in-person education at any university is dramatically being impacted because line items like in-person athletics, going to a football game, that may not happen. So students and their parents are asking the schools, when they've already paid the tuition, they said, hey, you're asking for $678 for athletics from us, and we've paid it to you, and we're not getting the full value of that $678. Give us the money back. You're doing us a disservice, a bait and switch perhaps. And UVA is like, oh my God. If I have all these line items built in that are profit centers that are literally tied to in-person schooling and in-person interactions, what the heck are we going to do? So long story short, cut to the chase, before we go to the next headline, health system, UVA, hospital, hemorrhaging money. Athletic department just launched a freaking GoFundMe. And I just showed you a components of mandatory fees for in-person education at the University of Virginia, and I just made a very compelling and convincing argument why every parent of a student should say, give us our freaking money back. The most powerful, influential, the most stable, most dynamic and innovative, and the most critically important brand and company in this marketplace is leaking oil from a number of different spots. Do you see? Gosh, it kind of almost takes my breath away, you know? I mean, how many people said this? As long as we have UVA here, Charlottesville's recession-proof. I have said that so many freaking times. On the day WorldStrides files for bankruptcy, the University of Virginia launches a GoFundMe. It is a brave, Darwinistic world right now in America. Wow. Let's go to the next headline, please. Kelly Jackson in 5 minutes. I'm taking my breath's taken away. Let's go to the Daily Progress headline, and let's get the Daily Progress petition that's going on here. First, put the petition on screen. It's on screen behind me as well, J-Dubs. You put it on screen for everybody. Virginia this is more job loss. This is why that 8.4% unemployment is gonna go up. Wait till WorldStrides. Wait till this story that I'm about to tell you is happening. Wait till you see what UVA does when they don't have funding for sports, when hospital is hemorrhaging, and in-person might not be a reality. So a company by the name of Lee Enterprises. Lee Enterprises is a company that owns the Roanoke Times, the Richmond Times-Dispatch, the Charlottesville Daily Progress, the Lynchburg News and Advance, the Bristol Herald Courier, and the Fredericksburg Freelance Star. Good God. Good God. Lee Enterprises, worth repeating, a company out of Iowa that it's known as a corporate raider that strips media outlets of assets to maximize profits for shareholders and for its corporate. This company, Lee Enterprises out of Iowa, good God, it owns the Roanoke Times, it owns the Richmond Times-Dispatch, it owns our Charlottesville Daily Progress. It owns the Lynchburg News and Advance, the Bristol Herald Courier, and the Fredericksburg Freelance Star. Boys and girls, there's two other papers in Virginia that are of merit that this company doesn't own. The Virginian Pilot out of Virginia Beach in Norfolk, and the Daily Press, the newspaper I grew up reading in Hampton Roads. The Virginian Pilot and the Daily Press, those two newspapers are owned by the same company, an out-of-Commonwealth company. Okay, those are two powerful media outlets. The other remaining media outlets, and the Washington Post is more of a nationwide newspaper, although it's very ubiquitous in Virginia. I'm going to exclude the Washington Post from this conversation because of its nationwide perspective and not its Virginia perspective. It does have a Virginia section, I know. So Lee Enterprises out of Iowa owns the Roanoke Times, the Richmond Times-Dispatch, the Daily Progress in Charlottesville, the Lynchburg News-Advance, the Bristol Herald-Courier, and the Fredericksburg Freelance-Star. This is a freaking behemoth here. Okay? And what this company is doing is it's aggregating, consolidating positions, freezing open positions, and pretty much making life in newsrooms at these media outlets so miserable for the journalists that they're quitting, and then they're bringing in lower paid rookie reporters, and they're going to save a little bit on the delta that they pay the reporter and the editor, the photographer, whatever it may be. So Lee Enterprises is proposing cutting jobs in Virginia by relocating work to hubs in Indiana and Wisconsin. That means work for the Roanoke Times, the Richmond Times-Dispatch, the Daily Progress, the Lynchburg News-Advance, the Bristol Herald-Courier, and the Freelance-Star. The work and the jobs that are otherwise now a reality for these media outlets will be removed from Charlottesville and Lynchburg and Bristol and Richmond and Roanoke. They'll be slashed, they will be evaporated, they will be squashed, they will be terminated, they will be assassinated and murdered, and those jobs will be rebirthed, recreated, reimagined, and repositioned. I am good with words. And they would be repositioned in Wisconsin and Indiana. That sucks for Virginia and for Charlottesville and for Roanoke and Lynchburg and all these other places. You're talking about straight up jobs being taken from streets in our community and people in our community and sent to Wisconsin and Indiana because an Iowa company wants to maximize its profits. And what's basically going to happen, here's another question for you. What do you think the corporate raider that's Lee Enterprises is going to do to the sports departments in the Richmond Times-Dispatch, the Roanoke Times, the Daily Progress, the Lynchburg News-Advance, the Bristol Herald-Courier, and the Fredericksburg Freelance-Star? There's going to be no high school sports in the fall. There potentially is going to be no college sports in the fall. These media outlets cover high school and college sports predominantly. What do you think this Iowa-based company with no ties to the Commonwealth is going to do to the sports departments at these newspapers when it has no sports to cover? They're going to terminate the people or furlough them. And they're taking the layout positions away, the look of the paper, the layout, they're taking those away too. I mean, it is a Darwinistic, brave new world out there. Kelly Jackson, if you're watching, you are. We're going to go to you in 2 minutes on this program. Give the show a like and a share on any of the Facebook pages you're watching. Do that now, please. Next headline I'd like to get to, Judah Wickhauer, before we get to Kelly, is a good one. In fact, why don't we save this for her? I'm going to go to her. I'm going to get this back on screen behind me. So much news to get to today. How you feeling, Judy? You feeling good?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to get Kelly on the line now. Let's talk covenant reopening, if we could. I'm Skyping her now. Covenant reopening. We've talked private schools. We haven't talked public school. We talked public schools. We haven't talked private schools. KJ, ¿qué pasa? How you doing? We got you, Kelly?
Hey. How are you?
I'm doing well.
You're having like a end show today.
We're having a good show. We're on fire right now. We have the green light from J-Dubs to welcome KJ. All right, Kelly Jackson. She's a star of Women Changing Our World, co-star with Jamie Schwartz. They had a fabulous show. I will straight up say the best show they've done yesterday. We were talking about off air on the I Love CVille page alone. These ladies, over 1,000 views on one Facebook page alone. That's approaching record-setting territory right there for Kelly and JB. But let's go to Covenant. Let's talk private school. So you have firsthand experience here. I'm going to get out of your way. Reopening plans at Covenant. The show is yours.
Yeah, so I'm kind of biased because both of my children go to Covenant. I could not love that school more than I do. I'm friends with the teachers. It feels like a family. So I love the school. I just wanted to be fair that my kids go there. So they sent out a pre-opening plan. So they sent kind of a semi-pre-opening plan a few weeks ago. This has a few more details. Okay. Something new that's in this plan, they are going to require all teachers and students to wear masks inside the classrooms, except when they're eating lunch, but they're going to try to have lunch outside. So I thought that was really great.
Yeah.
Something interesting I saw that I've never heard of or thought of before is instead of doing temperature checks, I guess each student and faculty each day will be required to fill out some sort of app or form saying that they're healthy. I don't know if I like that or not like that.
Why don't you like it? I have reasons why I wouldn't like that. Why don't you like it?
Well, because parents pump their kids full of Tylenol and send them to school anyway.
Right.
I mean, right? Like, that's just true.
That's facts.
I mean, I don't do that, but I do know some people who do that.
Hey, one of your kids is right there.
Rory, go, goofball. Oh, working at home with children.
I love it.
And what happens if you get like a fever in the middle of the day?
Right.
I don't know. Can we rely on high school students who want to go in a classroom and hang out with their buddies to be really truthful?
No, I fake being sick all the time.
No.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Maybe they'll change that. The final plan, they're saying, is going to be sent out July 31st.
Okay.
I feel confident in the final plan they are going to send out. There's 3 healthcare professionals on this COVID board for Covenant.
Okay.
2 of the doctors I know personally, they're fabulous doctors. One's a pediatrician. One is like runs the ED for UVA.
Wow.
Trustworthy people.
Sure.
Right. So I think that that's good. They're going to do a town hall meeting with middle school, upper school, lower school with parents so we can log on and ask questions. But that's not till like August 4th.
Okay.
And we're supposed to start school August 17th.
Oof. That's 13 days.
Like that, right. But we'll see. I do know that they did not survey parents or teachers what they preferred.
Are you surprised by that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I am surprised. Although, to be fair, in this, it does say they are communicating with the teachers on what the plans are and that they are open to conversations. Okay.
You're a business. Well, let me throw this to you. You're a businesswoman, a successful businesswoman. Run 16 Panairs. Okay, so you obviously know what's up. How would the private school be able to survive if the tuitions weren't coming in? I mean, if like, you know what I'm saying? If they said, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they have to collect the tuition. That's why they have to collect the tuitions.
I mean, I think a school like Stab
Yeah.
probably has millions and millions and millions of dollars in a dowry.
In a reserve. But that's unique. That's an anomaly. Is that fair?
Yes. I mean, that's not Covenant. I don't think that's Catholic. Right? I don't think that's Tandem. I don't know. I think, though, if I was running a school, because a school is a business. It's a business,
yes.
Right? First of all, I'm glad I'm not the one making these decisions and having to deal with all these crabby people.
I mean, you're just having to make decisions on 16 Panera Breads, all your team members, and keeping things safe for Coke. So it's not like you don't have a hell of a lot on your plate either, okay? But in this particular circumstance, it's children.
It's
children.
Right. If I were making the decisions as a business, and the school is my business, I would be putting a ton of money and resources into what online distance learning is going to look like. I'm a betting woman, just like you are a betting man,
Sure.
Jerry. When flu season starts, it is over.
Okay, so let's dig into that. I agree with you, but explain what you mean.
I mean, people are going to get the flu, right? And people are going to get COVID. I mean, they've already said that. Kids are going to go to school, they're going to get COVID. So how are you going to know who has the flu and then who has COVID?
Right. Oh.
Right? How are you going to know? So then you're just going to you're going to have to shut down the
So
school.
the flu would be probably characterized as COVID to be safe.
Right. And think of how many kids have the flu. I mean, I get a letter like every other week during flu season saying somebody in your child's class is tested positive for the flu. My 12-year-old got the flu twice last year.
Right.
I mean, so I would be putting money into that. I do know that someone donated money to Covenant to put cameras in the corners of all the classrooms.
Whoa, anonymous donation?
I think an anonymous
And
donation.
the thoughts with the cameras was?
I think that is going to be their distance learning option.
Interesting.
Why school is open. But it did say, and I'm not dogging Covenant, I don't disagree or agree with this statement, but they said they want all the kids in person unless there's an extenuating circumstance. Then the kid can do distance learning. I don't know what qualifies as a circumstance. Don't know.
That leaves a lot of room for interpretation for someone who I'm getting to know a little bit better, and KJ, where she's going to use that interpretation for personal opportunity. Is that safe to say?
I mean, I think parents would
Of
use
course,
that.
it's your kids. Yeah, right.
But I think, I think if we're talking about private schools versus public schools, private schools, I think, have it a little bit harder in the distance learning. Even though they have more money, the expectation of what distance learning is going to look like, because you're paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, is going to be much greater than the expectation of distance learning in a public school.
100% agree.
And I hope all the private schools are thinking.
And you're thinking that right now, because it's so soon, that maybe the credibility is not the right word, the value proposition with distance learning that's right around the corner might not justify the price tag they're asking.
I think people feel that way.
Yeah, I would feel that way. Right, because it's the first iteration.
I mean, so my youngest has an autoimmune disorder. She has severe asthma, so she can't go. Covenant was gracious, worked with me. She can't go back next year. She's going to go back the following year. But I had to hire a private teacher to teach her. She's in first grade, right? But think of people who have a third grader. You have to sit there and literally do the schoolwork with them. And at Covenant, you're doing Bible, theology, English, math, history, science, the extracurriculars, Spanish. I mean, that's a lot of things.
When do you think, Kelly, when do you think the level is, and I'm curious about this, I was talking about this with my wife, when does the curriculum or what the kids are learning get to the point where mom and dad are oh my God, freaking long-form fractions? What point does it get where it's this is just too much? What grade do you think it is?
I think it's the younger grades.
Really?
Not the older grades. Because my 12-year-old with distance learning last year, she woke up in the morning, she's Zoomed with her friends, they got all their schoolwork done. I never checked a thing she did.
Interesting.
She just did it.
And she crushed it?
She got I think the highest grade point average in 6th grade. She got 100% number.
Nice. Good job.
She's good. Yeah. But my kindergartner, the teacher was amazing, tried to help us, but working from home, doing other things. I threw in the towel 2 days into it. I was forget it. Can't do it. I called the principal and I was listen, I'm not asking for anything back. School year is over for my kindergartner. Not doing it.
I'll throw this question to you, and you have questions coming in here for you. Are you two questions coming at you? Are you hearing of the private school teachers not wanting to teach in person? We know you covered Albemarle County so well on Monday. I mean, you and Jamie had the teacher that first signed the letter from Albemarle. I mean, it was great. It was a phenomenal interview. I think it was the only interview I've seen with her in a long form fashion, which you guys did. We did the city schools on our show with Shannon Gillikin. They're more organized, it seems. Are you seeing any kind of that with the private school teachers where they're we're not going to show up?
I haven't seen them organize at all. And I don't know if that's a lack of ability or maybe fear, or maybe it's because these private schools are such a close-knit community. My hope is that they're being heard by, the heads of their departments in a small, close setting so they don't feel like they need to write a petition. Right. I mean, Covenant doesn't have, 3,000 teachers. So maybe that's why, I think for all school teachers, though, not just private, not just public, I want to know if the teachers are going to be required to sign a waiver.
Oof. Of saying,
Because if they do, I think it's going to be a no-go for a lot
you're
of people.
basically saying the waiver is you have to teach. If you get sick, we're not liable.
Yes.
Yikes.
Do you think schools are going to do that?
You're a businesswoman. Doesn't the employer have to protect him or herself and the business from the exposure and the risk?
I don't have an answer. I don't know. I don't know the laws and the ins and the outs of a school business. And a teacher doesn't get much sick leave.
I know. And it's not like, and correct me if I'm wrong, or help me understand this. What happens if a third grade teacher, worst case scenario, gets COVID and is on the disabled list or on the sidelines for a few weeks here? Is there the depth and backup teachers to fill in?
I'm going to guess no
Because
way.
the public schools do with the subs. Do the private schools have that depth as well?
We have subs, yes. But I don't know. If enough public school teachers don't come back, those subs might be taking the place of the public school teachers.
Yeah, that's a legit topic right there. And we're hearing public schools being recruited for private tutoring and neighborhood education, and maybe the subs fill in those roles, and then are we going to have a shortage of substitute? That's a freaking topic right there. How about the one that came up on your show where people were like, can you give us some perspective of the parents that are pro get back to school?
I have a lot of friends that are like, I want my kid to absolutely go. They'll be fine. So
What are they saying?
I think they're saying, basically, if my kid goes, they're going to be fine. If they get sick, it's not going to be a big deal. I don't personally feel that way, but I think every parent should be able to make a choice.
Sure thing, for sure. You're not judging. You're not judging anybody. Everybody has their own say, and there's no right or wrong answer.
Right. And some parents are like, I'm not sending my kid unless they have to wear a mask the whole time. Then I have other friends who say, I'm not sending my kid, or I don't want to send my kid because I don't want them to have to wear a mask for 6 hours a day. The poor people making these decisions in these schools.
It's brutal.
You're going to piss somebody off no matter what.
Did they say anything about sports in the reopening plan?
Did they say anything? No, I haven't seen anything about sports yet, but I did get, my daughter plays volleyball, and I got a letter from the American Volleyball Association saying high school volleyball was canceled.
Wow.
Because they're saying, well, for the governor and the CDC guidelines, you can't share equipment, and you got to be at least 6 feet apart. That leaves you golf.
That leaves you
Right?
cross country. And and even at cross country, you're running next to people. That pretty much leaves you golf or tennis. And you can't play doubles. It would be singles tennis.
Right. So that's it.
That's brutal.
Swimming? Maybe swimming?
Yeah. What do you think they'll do? Do you think they'll move some of the spring sports to the fall? Because those are a little...
I think they're going to have to with football.
Right.
Because what are these high school kids who are seniors who are being looked at by scouts in colleges? What are they going to do?
Yeah. You're dropping knowledge bombs here. Okay, so were you confident? This is the toughest question I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Were you confident, so confident, or not confident at all with the reopening plan for the covenant?
I am in the middle of the road, and I'm going to wait to pass judgment.
Okay.
Or judgment's the wrong word. Wait to pass my opinion.
Okay. Offer constructive criticism.
Yeah, okay. Until the final plan.
Okay.
Constructive criticism wise, I would like to see a poll from the teachers, an anonymous poll, so I know that there's no any political thing, anything falling into that. I would like to see that. I would like to see them poll the parents.
I know. God.
That's
a no-brainer.
What happens if 50%, let's say 30% of the parents don't want their kids to go back? Then wouldn't that change your plan for distance learning?
Yeah. It would.
Isn't it kind of too late by August 4th to figure out what people want?
Unless that's
just my
unless
thought.
that's the strategy.
then it's too late.
Yeah, unless the strategy is to wait till the final minute, because then at that point you can't really pivot or change.
Right, okay, but on the flip side to that, are they waiting because they have to? Because isn't there a meeting tomorrow to decide if we go back to phase 2 or not?
Okay, so she's making a good point. Tomorrow, it was originally for today, but tomorrow,
I thought
Albemarle County and its 6 board of supervisors are going to determine whether we go from phase 3 to phase 2, which could impact schools everywhere. I mean, this phase 3, phase 2 here. Okay, so you're a perfect person for this here. So you have been extremely safe during COVID. I mean, I remember you did your first show here. That was the first time you had been out of your house in months. Okay.
Yes.
You have a daughter that has health issues in a COVID world. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. So you care deeply about your family more so than anything. You also are a businesswoman with have a lot of employees that count on your decision making. So phase 3 versus phase 2, Kelly Jackson, what do you take on that?
I mean, for my personal business as a restaurant, there wasn't really a big difference between phase 2 and phase 3 for us. Meaning,
almost phase 2 in some ways could, and maybe phase 2 could almost crazily help you with your model.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's not going to change our dining room.
Right. You have the drive-thrus.
We have the drive-thrus. Phase 2, people could still come in the dining room. We're still at 50% capacity either way.
Right.
Our outside dining will still be open. So it really doesn't change much in my model. I think it changes a lot for the bars.
Yeah,
How about the
for everybody else?
For everyone else.
Yeah.
I think the wedding industry, if you can only have 50 people.
Right. How do you have a wedding?
No, schools, the governor said if we go to phase 2, no schools. Yeah. So maybe, to be fair, maybe Covenant is waiting because everything is changing. So why work so hard on like this final plan if in a day, throw it out the window?
That's a good take. That's a fair take. I think we'll leave it at that. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that's what it is. You crushed this. Anywhere you want to go, show's yours.
I would say to all teachers, whether you're in private school, public school, whether you're the janitor, the lunch person, regardless, have your voice heard regardless of if you want to go back or not. Make sure you voice your opinion, even if it's popular or not popular. And if you can't voice your opinion, set up a fake email account and send an anonymous email.
Kelly Jackson's promoting burner accounts over here. I love it. I love the burner account.
Burner emails.
I love it. Basically, have your voice heard.
Have your voice heard.
That's fair. That's very fair. You crushed it. What's on deck for Monday?
Oh, Monday's going to be awesome. Jamie and I are doing a vacation-themed show.
Ooh. What is?
So I think we're going to have some fruity drinks. Get ready.
Alcoholic beverages?
It's vacation.
Okay, yes, I'm in. Okay, I'm in.
Okay. We have Rhonda, who's an amazing travel agent, to talk about like where can we go right now? What can we do? Did you see the Bahamas?
Yeah,
is not letting us in.
We were going to talk about this. That was nuts. The Bahamas. I'm going to throw it to you and get your take out of here, and then we'll close on this. The Bahamas. Okay. You can put the headline on screen here, and then we'll get Kelly's take on this. The Bahamas is giving Americans in the Bahamas 24 hours to get the hell out of their country. What do you make of that?
I mean, I love the Bahamas, but guess what? If I was another country, I would be like,
get the hell out, U.S.
Yeah, like, no thanks. Yeah. And you can come back when you figure your shit out.
What happens if you own a house in the Bahamas and you're an American?
What happens if you own a house in the Bahamas and hurricane season's about to start?
Yeah. Or what happens if you own a house and you're in the Bahamas like right now and they're telling you to leave? Are you like, no, I own this house. This is me. Just because I'm an American, I have to leave? That's almost like a version of racism. Right?
I mean, yeah, but I understand that these small teeny
they have to protect
countries,
themselves.
They have like limited healthcare resources. Right. Listen, America. Put on your mask, stay 6 feet away, and then we can get back to the Bahamas.
There you go. That's a commercial right there for wearing a mask from Kelly Jackson. You killed it. You killed it. You killed it. Thank you for joining us.
No, sure. Anytime, and I'll see you Monday with fruity umbrella drinks. Wear a Hawaiian shirt.
Make
Jerry.
mine a double.
Will do.
Okay, I'll see you Monday, lady. Have a good one.
You too,
Kelly
bye.
Jackson is amazing. Okay, she's the star, a co-star of of Women Changing Our World, Mondays at 10:15 a.m. with Jamie Schwartz on the I Love CVille Network. Their show is just like dynamic and hilarious. I'm just a huge fan of it. Let's go to some comments, and then we're going to get to a couple more headlines here. Johnny says, some public school teachers close to their retirement are just taking it, so that means less teachers are available. Johnny is so right. Johnny, I love you. I love your new restaurant you got coming in Spring Creek. Johnny is doing right by this community, and he says the older public school teachers are just taking their retirement for risk of exposure to COVID. We may see a teacher shortfall. We may see a teacher shortfall in the fall. And if we see a teacher shortfall, what happens if some of those teachers get sick? Who are going to be the subs and who are going to fill in the gap? Barbara Lundgren has a comment. Barbara Lundgren is the star of the Virginia Wedding and Event Showcase. And in fact, Barbara is going to be on the show tomorrow with someone from the Virginia Department of Health. I had to look at my calendar here. So tomorrow, Barbara is going to be on the show. We're going to be talking with somebody. Barbara lined up this interview from the Virginia Department of Health. And this interview with the Virginia Department of Health tomorrow on this show is going to talk about Virginia Department of Health and the Virginia wedding and event industry. So watch that interview tomorrow. Barbara Lundgren says, UVA taking away jobs in every direction and asking us for money. She goes, we're kidding, right? I kind of had a feel for that same feeling. I kind of had that same feeling as well, Barb. We have, this is what we know about UVA. They have an endowment of billions of dollars. They've raised their ask of money from us every year to attend sporting events. Every year I'm paying more. Okay? UVA has massive hotel blocks that the community needs, and they're not giving us a green light or a red light of whether those hotel blocks that are reserved for sports in the fall can be utilized or not for, say, weddings and events. They have a health system hemorrhaging money, an athletic department hemorrhaging money, and an in-person business model that may be crumbling before our eyes. Those are legitimate statements, not hyperbolized, straight up real statements. Jacqueline Greiger says this. She's from Barbecue Exchange. She's the fabulous events coordinator, catering coordinator. She's running Craig's business. Craig, you're lucky to have Jacqueline. Craig, give Jacqueline a raise. Give Jacqueline a raise. Jacqueline says, with new workplace protections that Virginia has passed, I imagine school teacher unions will also have an opinion on this. I learned something about this, Jacqueline, and I may be wrong on this. In fact, I think I'm right. There are no educational unions in Virginia. There's no educational unions in Virginia. There are associations, and there are 3 teacher associations, for example, in Fairfax County, but there are no unions in Virginia. So where I'm going with this is the teachers. Here's a perfect example. One of my best friends in life lives in Connecticut, was a principal, and he now is like on track to be like kind of like a superintendent track. His wife, also a principal. She started as an art teacher and now is a principal. So this is one of my best friends. He's on the superintendent track, former principal, and his wife's a principal. In Connecticut, they have the power of collective bargaining. So all the teachers negotiate with the school systems as a unit, as a collective bargaining unit. Because they have power in numbers, they're able to do a lot more as a group than if they were splintered. We're seeing this in a microcosm in Charlottesville. We see the city of Charlottesville teachers, led by Shannon Gillikin, organized through email lists and through an open Google Doc letter that was crafted for the school board and for the superintendent, basically saying we don't want to go back to in-person education. So Charlottesville City is not a union, but they were somewhat organized. Albemarle County is not a union with its teachers, They were kind of organized, not as organized as the city of Charlottesville. That's why the city of Charlottesville's letter went to the school board weeks before the county did. The private school teachers in Charlottesville, they are the least organized. They are the least associated. They are the least communicative. So because they don't have powers and numbers, it's a few teachers at this school, a few teachers at this school, a few teachers at this school, and perhaps they don't know each other to communicate. They don't have access to the listserv that public school teachers have to contact each other. Because they don't have that collective bargaining power and numbers, they're left with going to school and teaching in person in the fall. I mean, this is freaking survival of the fittest. Jeez Louise. We covered the Bahamas story. Did you get the last two headlines, J-Dubs? Can we get those on there, or is that a story for other day?
I can do that.
The William and Mary and TikTok?
Yeah.
Gosh, you're the man, Judah Wickhauer. I freaking love some Judah Wickhauer. All right, we'll close with the William and Mary and TikTok headlines, and we'll get out of here. We got a conference call in 7 minutes with a strong client. You know who. William and Mary raises $1 billion in fundraising. Good night. You have that on screen? Did you guys see that? William and Mary, the College of William and Mary. I grew up in Williamsburg, was going to Zabel Stadium, eating at Paul's Deli, College Deli, the Greenleaf Cafe since I was a kid. The first beer I ever had outside of my friend's house or my house was when I was 16 years old, and I snuck into the College Deli by jumping over the wall from the road into the College Deli and started drinking $4 Natural Light pitchers when I was 16 years old, and it was amazing. It was freaking amazing. I loved it. 16-year-old, jumped the wall, got into one of the bars for the college students, looking around. I'm 16. I'm sitting around with the beautiful women that are 18, 19, and 20 in college, drinking Natural Light pitchers, walking around, filling it up for the ladies and saying, let me top that off for you. And like, oh, all right, sure. How do we do that? It was awesome. William and Mary raised $1 billion during a fundraising campaign that included time during COVID. You're going to see every college in America every university in America make a strong effort for fundraising because their backs are against the wall. And William and Mary is done it incredibly well. $1 billion? Jeebus. Good job for that college, 2 hours from us. And we'll close with the TikTok headline. I very much encourage parents that are watching this show. TikTok is an app that is controlled by the Chinese and a company out of Beijing. U.S. Secretary of State said the U.S. is going to look to ban TikTok. TikTok is doing this. They want to hire 10,000 Americans to their company, 10,000. They have roughly 500 right now at the start of the year, United States citizens working for TikTok. They want to take 500 and they want to expand it to 10,000. Why do you think TikTok wants to hire 10,000 Americans when they only have 500? They're leveraging new hiring in a down economy, the hiring of Americans to try to build goodwill with the U.S. Secretary of State. That's what's happening. And they're going to say, U.S. Secretary of State, if you do not ban TikTok in America, we'll go from 500 U.S. citizens on our roster to 10,000. I'm going to straight up say this. As tensions continue to rise between Washington and Beijing, I expect TikTok to suffer and potentially be banned. I also, as an aggressive stock investor, I trade the news, and a lot of times, if TikTok gets banned in America, you will see Snapchat prioritized even more. And I think Snapchat is going to pop. I put $3,000 into Snapchat on top of the money I already had into the company. I think Snap is going to pop if TikTok gets banned. And I think there's a very good likelihood that it'll get banned. I think you may see Facebook, and I own Facebook as well. That company's a generational company. There's tremendous opportunities right now from a stock purchasing standpoint. If you guys want me to cover that, I'm happy to do it. I'm watching the market right now. There's tremendous opportunities here. Okay, get in and diversify your revenue now because we don't know what's on the horizon. Okay, the S&P is nearly at its February high. I mean, there's green all over the board here. Okay, diversify how you make money to protect yourself if we're on the cusp of a deeper recession or one of those U-shape instead of V-shape recoveries. Okay, so that's the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're back tomorrow at 12:30. on the I Love CVille Show. My name is Jerry Miller. For Judah Wickhauer, Kelly Jackson, this is the I Love CVille Show. We'll see you mañana, 12:30. Good show, J-Dubs.
Thank you.
We got a conference call in 2 minutes. I really like the how the show's becoming dynamic with the cameras, the show, and the headers. You know what I'm saying?